Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Let's see how successful we were in terms of people getting used to this format on the first day promptly. Well, first, let me congratulate the 9 of you for being on time. This class is 30 people enrolled. Yeah, so I was told there was 25, and I got a look at the upgraded roster this morning, and I have to talk to somebody about that. But I want to ask those of you who are here, if you would, to please turn on your cameras if you have not already. Feel free to turn your microphone on and off as you need to. If you're in a quiet place, you could just leave it on, especially when it's just the few of us here. I want to tell you what I have on my mind before I introduce the class and tell you what it's going to be like. First, let me ask you this. Was it easy to find your way here? Did it all make sense? Did you get my alert and you found the link quickly to get to Zoom?
Yeah.
Got it. Because, I want to be very frank with you guys. I've been teaching forever, so you're in good hands in that regard. I've been teaching all over this city and mostly in the arts for about 40 years almost. All right. So I have a lot of experience, except the thing that's newish, I don't want to say new, is remote teaching, as it may be for some of you also. I think maybe last semester was probably the first experience a lot of us had with online classes. So I'm still figuring out what works in terms of getting others who are new to it on the page. I was hoping to walk in here and find at least 25 people in the room, and as you can see, the group's smaller than that. So anyway, here we are. I'm going to begin right away. I will be repeating myself a little bit on this first day. I think some people are having last minute issues. I'm going to be checking my chat now and then. Good morning, Emmanuel. Somebody just chatted everybody, which is very nice. Feel free to use the chat feature. So let me cut to the quick. The first thing that's most important is that I really believe in this class, and it's a lot of fun. It's intro to multimedia. I guess for somebody, maybe I'm wrong about keeping. Hello. If you're hearing us feedback loop, okay, there we go, that passed. I guess we will have to turn the mics on and off. So Andy, you do me a favor and turn your mic off, or is it Crystal? I don't know. Somehow I hear my own voice coming through twice. So I guess we will have to turn the mics on and off. All right, let me begin where I was just a moment ago. First off, this class should be fun. If you're creative and you enjoy being creative, you like exploring new things provided they are creative, this is probably going to be the class for you. If any of you are an artist or want to be an artist or an art student, regardless of your major really, you're probably going to like this class. And even if you don't see yourself as an artist, but as a creative person who's always seeking creative solutions, maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're learning whatever you're learning because you want to start successful businesses going forward. I'll include that in the creative crowd that's likely to enjoy this class. So I want to tell you what we're going to do today, because tomorrow I want to start working together. So today I want to set all the themes of how we're going to do this, what you can expect, what I'm going to expect. So hopefully you can get a little bit excited about it. Let's be frank. No one's growing up thinking, yes, when I'm in my 20s or whatever, I just can't wait to go to summer school. I don't want to exaggerate it, but if you have to go to summer school, you're not taking math. I don't want to offend any math fans out there, but this is not going to be math. And it's not even going to be wall-to-wall lecture. Today it is pretty much mostly going to be lecture, but after this, I'm teaching stuff and I'm expecting you to join me. So we're going to have to go over a couple of things today just to get to that stage. So one is, how does this online method affect us? Realistically, how's this going to work? The other part is, what is the essence of the course? You know, because I've been teaching this course at this school for several years. I'm a multimedia teacher, and I've been in a number of other schools, Parsons School of Design and the Art Institute of New York, and currently at Fashion Institute of Technology, although I don't teach there in the summer. So I've been around the block, generally teaching, and you're in good hands. So I'll tell you what I'd like to do, because I have the handout, which you've all seen or you wouldn't be here, right? The handout is the way to go in this class. It is the roadmap of everything that I do. And if the class involves a lot of detail, the handout may go into a lot of detail. I'm always going to teach what I want you to know. I'm never going to say, oh, look, this is part of my class, but go read it. You know, that's not going to happen. So we're always going to be able to, I'm always going to demonstrate, and most of the time you're going to join me. But anyway, let's skip over that. I want to go right to the handout, because the handout's always central to this class. As long as you keep the web address that got you here, www.iraworks.com/bmcc, available. You can't lose it, because you can't take this class without it. Every day, just about, I'm going to be putting up a new handout. The class starts at 10. That new handout's probably going to go up 5 to 10 or 9:45. You know, it may go up early, but probably not, right before class. And any links we need are going to be there. When you're giving me homework, it's going to tell you where to put the homework. It's really nice, short way to not only be reminded what that day's information is, but any steps you need to take. So I'm going to be doing a lot of screen sharing in this class, and I'm going to start in about a minute by looking at the handout together. But most often, I'm going from the handout to demonstrations of the different media that we're here to cover in this multimedia class. So the class is going to stay lively. You know, some of you are going to fall in love with one subject. The first thing's web design, for example. So tomorrow we start web designing. And right away, a bunch of you are going to be like, wow, I didn't know I can do that. From scratch. I'm talking, you're going to write the code with me. But it isn't that hard. What's going to happen is some people are going to fall in love with it when it's time just to move to the next subject. And I'll be, well, I'm sorry, you know, it's not intro to web design, it's intro to multimedia, and web design is one of the media. So we're going to keep moving like that. Some things getting little tastes, some getting big tastes. So right now I'm going to screen share, and we'll go over some of the details today. So, by the way, when you screen share, because you're going to screen share with me, it gives you choices. You choose desktop. I'm going to try to repeat that often. And the reason I want you to choose desktop is you could show me anything you want at that stage. If we're working in Photoshop, you could show me something on the web and then show me something in Photoshop. You don't want to choose an isolated area when you screen share. Anyway, you're not going to screen share today, so let's just look at this. You'll be seeing some of this repeated in the next couple days, you know, with small variations until we get used to it. But here's the premise. So tomorrow at 10, you'll go to the same place and you'll see the class 2 handout. They're always going to be dated, and it's going to stay very clear. There'll always be a record of what we did. There's 23 classes, you know, 23. So we're here for all of June, basically, you know, a little bit right now, and one day, I think, in July. So each day it's the same routine. You're going to come here and look over the handout and see if I have anything I need for you to do before we get started. The most important thing is going to be the Zoom conference, right? So I don't want to go too quickly. Let me back up for a second. So you come here, you look at the handout, and second it says you'll then download the day's assets. So typically there'll be a link here that takes you to the day's assets. Yet another link. What are assets? Say we're working in Photoshop. We need photos. Those will be the assets, you know. Or at some point we'll be doing animation, and we may animate some text. Maybe I want you to have a given font, so I'll deliver the font. And those are assets, the parts we're going to need. Today there's no assets other than Zoom, I suppose, and the handout. So this one we'll see. Tomorrow, will there be assets? Not tomorrow either, actually. So it's going to take a little while before we need them. Frankly, the first assets we're going to need are photos. So we're going to be moving through some basic web design, and then when we need photos, We're going to start heading toward Photoshop with that. So we'll be talking about software too. This is going to be the link every day. And the way that I intend it is not to have passwords or user IDs. Unless we suffer radical visitors. I'm sure you've heard about that. People are bombing Zoom meetings. And it could be entertaining. But anyway, if there's trouble, I'll change this. But right now, there's going to be the same link every day, so it's going to be on every handout. I want to get to attendance, even though there is more in this below. I just want to say something that I'm working out, right? The way I teach, and I've had over 3,000 students, is very hands-on. Now, virtually through Zoom, that sounds difficult, but I managed to bridge the gap and I make connections with my students because the stuff is fun and I'm interested in you succeeding. So to be here is part of an experience that we'll have together, hopefully. To not be here is a little harder. But look, I heard from Ran earlier today. I don't want to embarrass Ran, but is doing some medical care right now, and it interferes with the hours for this class. I'm definitely not stopping anybody who's going to be working in the medical industry right now. So, Ran's decided to take half the class live and then finish after work, which is very brave. I've got a couple students who can't come at all. So I got to tell you something about that. I'm very resistant to teaching a class where students never have to come. The school has asked me to keep an open mind, and so I'm going to do that. I just want to be clear to all of you that are here. I'm hoping that all of you can come every day. It's going to be much more stabilizing to have to be here, to get the stuff in a group. Also, you get to ask me questions. It's going to be really hard to ask me questions later. I don't have 24-hour office hours. I'm going to be working every day for this particular class. I don't know how much individual attention I can get, especially if the school's not kidding and there are 30 people in this class. So it's definitely going to be easiest if you come. So someone could actually turn on their mic and say, Ira, what was that? Did not catch that. But if you're not here, so let me plan B. Oh, you know something? I just want to make sure that this is actually recording because I've had trouble with that in the past. Can you guys just give me 1 second here? Give me 1 minute. I'm not the master of Zoom. I'm getting there.
It says it's recording up in the corner.
Does it? Not on mine. I wonder why mine doesn't say that. But yeah, I got another area here that's looking positive. So let me say a little bit more about that. Listen, thank you for chiming in. Sometimes the teachers thinks you're seeing the same thing as me, and the arrangement, because I'm the host, is so different on your end. Can I ask you a dumb question? This is off topic. Is my little rectangle the same size as everybody else's?
Only because you're sharing the paper the handout, but earlier you were bigger. It depends how the person wants to see you. I guess, because earlier I had it where everybody looked like the Brady Bunch.
Hey, listen, you could tell your little friend there she's welcome to take my class for free.
This is my daughter.
What's her name?
Yeah. Ava.
Hey, Ava.
Say wave.
Ava's one of my favorite names.
Say thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. I wrote Ava into a book even. Sure enough. Yes. Anyway, guys, so listen, I'm hoping that, I want to make this human because frankly, I'm tired of being in the house. And this is not only something I love to do, because I really love to do this. So I think you're going to have fun. But frankly, this is as close to social life as I get. So Ava's welcome to visit. I saw someone had their dog there before. My cat took off at the last minute. But listen, I'm not going to waste your time. There's going to be a lot of information. I just hope it's going to be fun. So let me get back to what I need to say in terms of just, some of the basic stuff we got to get out of the way day one. All right. So again, if you can't come, I am going to be posting the videos, right? And I want to show you something quickly. I'm going to come back to this later. But this is my goal right now. I have a playlist for this class, MMP 100. And for the moment, I'm intending on uploading every video to the playlist. The only reason that might change is Zoom has another way of doing it. You know, and if I could make better friends with Zoom's approach, that might become more convenient. So I may change this later. But for right now, that's just a live YouTube link. Again, you don't need a password or anything like that. So if you cannot come for any reason, you know, or you work half a day right now, and I know, you know, money's scarce for everybody right now, the schools, you know, asked me to arrange this so that you could still succeed. So I'm going to be taking attendance mostly so that I get to know where we're at, and I could see patterns in what succeeds and what doesn't succeed, not only for individuals, but for the class at large. We don't know where the future is going to go. You want conscious teachers every step of the way, and we'll see how this goes. Those of you who tend to come every class, I have to say this, and I hope there's exceptions, but the people who come to class every day almost always get the highest grades, even if the teacher does not take attendance. You know, it's worth thinking about. Even if the teacher doesn't take attendance, so there's no direct correlation, the people who come every day become most engaged and the most invested, and they wind up getting A's, you know? So if you can come every day, you should come every day, really. If you can't come every day, I understand. I'm not going to take it personally, but you should watch a video every day. They're going to be 2 hours long, you know, and today is a bunch of talk, but a lot of it's going to be like 2 straight hours of stuff, substantial stuff. So if you do want to go the video route, please don't let them pile up. You know, do your best to take it in real time. You know, as close to real time as you can get daily. You know, if you're backed up one day, you'll survive it, but it's better not to do that. Look, there's not a lot of homework, so this is the big investment. So I want to talk to you about that too soon enough. Let me back up. Listen, I want to say something about computers, and you know, so like right now, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 14 people other than myself, about half the class, and I don't know if any of you are on a Chromebook right now. Now, if you're on a Chromebook, you could. Are you on a Chromebook, Clarissa? So listen, folks, I want to say something. Myself and the head of this department are really determined right now. So I want to just say something that's going to take a little bit of effort. If you're not on a Mac and you're not on Windows, you won't be able to do the assignments unless I could get you a computer that has Mac or Windows. So my goal today is to hear from as many people as I've already started a list. Clarissa, should I put you on that list? Try to get a computer? All right. I'm not a good guy with paperwork. I'm a good teacher. So today I'm being extra thorough. I got to talk to this guy, my boss, right away.
So it has to be like a regular laptop. Would that carry Windows or Mac software?
Exactly. It has to have one of the 2 major operating systems.
Okay.
And the reason is we're going to be using real software. You know, it's a multimedia class, but it's real software. So like, listen, folks, let's be clear about who's in the class so you can see where I'm headed. It is Intro to Multimedia. And sure enough, if you're a multimedia major, you're going to love this class. You want to do it all as right as you possibly can. I am Mr. Multimedia here, you know, so you're in good hands. But if you're a web design major, you want to know how to do it like a real web designer does. If you're a video major, we're doing video, by the way. You want to do it like a real video person does. Or you're an animator, likewise. So it's like, I could definitely teach a version of this class that's more survey of these art forms in some kind of cool way, very 21st century, using online means. But frankly, that's not what I do. I'm a professional, and I use professional tools, and I teach professional tools.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually, I have joined this class through my phone.
Fake, you know what? I got your email, and you're already on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure, like, I'm texting through chat, so you're getting it?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay,
I hear
okay.
you perfectly.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Professor. Thank you so much.
So listen, what I would like for everybody to do is, you know, maybe let me do this the right way. I need to do this in an organized way. the people who took this class might have thought that this was like a lecture-oriented class, and you could have taken that on your phone. It's not. It's a very hands-on class. So my boss is incredibly energetic, really, and he's going to really try to get computers for each person who actually needs one, because it's summer school. There's not a massive flood of need. So I just got to see what the numbers are. So listen, the only thing I'm going to bank on you guys, and the couple of you have already asked, you got to make good on it, though. If I get you one and they tell you got to go get it, you have to go get it. Because last semester, some teachers stuck their necks way out and people never went to get them. So someone else who needed it couldn't get it.
Professor, I have one question.
Sure.
So, is there not like any online website that we can work on, or it's just we have to have the software?
You're gonna have to have the software. I can't be any clearer. In the alert that I sent you, it said in red letters. You know, I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, yes.
Question, is a Surface Pro okay since it has Windows processor on it?
Is what okay?
A Surface Pro.
Yes, it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe.
I'll try to get something because I can't travel with her. I don't like to take her on the train because of everything. So I'll just try to order something online and have it mailed to my house.
So listen, you know, I feel bad making anyone, you know, invest loads of money in one. What's your major?
But it's an investment when you think about it. You're gonna need it later on, and it'll help with other things. So
can I ask you what your major is?
I'm a business management marketing.
So you know, I have to say, like, you're on the cusp where business people can typically possibly work fine with a Chromebook, you know, because they may not need graphic software, for example.
But it's also good to have it to learn. Why not learn another aspect of the trade?
Folks, let's be really blunt with each other. It's a digital world, right? The Chromebook is fantastic, and an iPad is fantastic. But when you think about it, they're really for watching, observing. They're not really made for participating. Tablets, not on the same level as computers. So I just want to say to anybody in here, if that's your goal, if you want to order something, please talk to me a little bit more right at the end of the class. So maybe, you know, if you want to bounce it off me, you know, what you're thinking of ordering, it does have to run a proper operating system. So that's Apple or Windows. Now, look, folks, I don't want to go to that place of what if I can't get a computer for you, right? But this is one reason why I don't want to take immediate action. If there's a chance I can't get a computer for someone who needs it, I want to make sure that you could get out of the class in a timely way, even though that's not very satisfying. I don't want anyone to have to, you know, frankly, pay for it, to be blunt. So this is the best that I can do. Folks, I need to move ahead because I don't really want to slow the whole class down for those few people. But what I do want to do is tell those few people, if I hear from you today, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I want you to do that. I already have a few people on my list, though. I am going to reach out to the person in charge right after class. Try to get those computers to you like ASAP, because we really don't have time to mess with it. And I'll tell you, I'm going to have to react to the situation as we move forward. Yes.
Just one quick question. So those laptops which you will make like arrange for us, we have to go pick it up, or it will be delivered?
I believe you have to go pick it up. Okay. You know, that's a really good question, right? You know, let me ask. I'm almost certain you have to pick it up, but it would be so great if they could deliver them. You know, we're not in the business of giving out computers, really. Typically, you know, like, I'm impressed that the school has taken that on. You know, I need to move forward, but as far as I know, you will have to come pick it up. I will know more for you hopefully by tomorrow. As soon as possible. Sure. You know, folks, listen, I got to be blunt. We're still in a post-COVID, figure it out as we go along place. You know, we're still figuring things out. The one thing that you're in lucky hands is I'm a multimedia teacher teaching a class in multimedia. Zoom is part of multimedia. We're looking at the browser. It's part of multimedia. So I actually have a lot of tools that make this class rather natural. For us, but in terms of not having equipment, that can be a big obstacle. So listen, like I said, I want to talk to you about my office hours and stuff where people should feel even freer about talking about things that don't affect the majority of the class. You know, office hours are a little bit more about individual stuff, right? So let me move through the stuff that affects us all. and 12, the class is over. I'm going to stick around a little bit for more individual questions. Feel free to interrupt along the way, but I just want to move this subject along. So everybody, please take this survey today if you have not already, right? It says tech survey. You just click the link. It's very, very short. Listen, your future as a student at getting a college degree depends on this school figuring out how to do it right. So we have to know really what our students have and don't have. So it's going to ask you about your internet connection. Does it suck? Is it inefficient? Excuse me. Or is it delightful? Questions like that. So we have an idea how to do this. You have to take it, please. It's only a couple minutes. All right. Also, it's going to identify you to the head of the department, who'll know already if you don't have a computer there, and then you're going to email me again. So listen, Fake, I have you on my list, so you don't even have to email me right now. Clarissa, I also have you on the list because you said it out loud. Anyone who wants to tell me right now, turn on your mic or chat me, and I'll add you to the list right now. You don't even have to send me an email. You still have to take the survey, though. That's got a larger purpose. So again, all right, I'll be checking my chats now and then, which stubbornly refuses to stay out while I'm screen sharing. Sorry, give me a moment. There we go. Jeremy, I don't know, so Jeremy, do you have a mic? Because guys, I want to say something like, I far prefer questions with the mic. It's a struggle for me to look at you, look at the work, look at chat. Only use chat if your mic doesn't work, all right? So your class starts at 10. Absolutely at 10. So if you thought it was 11, I don't know how that happened, but the class indeed does start at 10.
I had a question.
Yes.
According to the schedule, the class starts from 11 to 12. Somehow the school mixed it up.
What schedule are you looking at? On Blackboard, it says 10 to 12, just so I know.
On Student Center.
On the Student Center?
It gives you a display of, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Really? So guys, I'm glad you're telling me. So I think, give me 1 second here. Couple quick things about that. So I completely apologize on behalf of the school, Student Center, and on myself for the class is most definitely 10 to 12. Errors are definitely getting made right now, especially, see, this class is not historically taught online. So last semester, in the classroom, I'm sure a lot of you were you all here last semester in school? Right, so I'm sure you have the same experience. Everything moved online. And in the middle of it, I'd already been asked to teach summer. And they were like, okay, we're going to register this so everyone knows it's remote just in time at the last second. And that involved them making decisions without knowing the teacher. For example, this class could have been done with no live interaction at all. The choice was given to me. No live interaction. Right. So give me 1 second. Let me just finish that thought. So at that time, they put in an arbitrary schedule. 11 to 12. Yes, sir.
Professor, isn't it from 10 to 11?
What's that?
When last time, the class timing from 10 to 11.
The class time, guys, can you hear me? Because I feel like I keep repeating the same things. The class runs from 10 to 12. And I apologize if you read elsewhere something else. It's wrong. The class runs from 10 to 12. And it runs from Monday to Thursday, 10 to 12 for 23 days.
Okay, good.
It's not going to change. That's what it is. Okay. So guys, I'm going to move forward. And again, I do apologize. I'm going to ask them to fix the Student Center. Look, guys, listen, let's be really clear. If you took this class because of misunderstandings, then you're perfectly right in removing yourself from the class. I don't really want to invite anyone to remove the class, but it isn't really fair. If you came here expecting a schedule that you're not getting, You have every right to say, look, I need to withdraw. It doesn't meet my schedule. You know, the school's doing their best. There's nobody out there being incompetent, that's for sure, but they're figuring things out in the middle of a very strange time. What if you can come to this class, the class is going to be awesome. I just got to tell you that. I get the best reviews. You could look me up online in any number of colleges. Very popular because, you know, I love doing this. But I have to get to doing this. Like, this is all the kind of stuff that just takes us further and further from why, you know, half of your schooling, I don't want to be that part of your schooling that you're like was a waste of time. You know, when you were a kid, you were tracing hands to make turkeys on Thanksgiving. Teach that kid about drawing. Show the kid a turkey. Let them draw it. Don't tell them to trace their hand. I don't want to waste anyone's time. We're not doing turkey drawings. We're going to get busy. So listen, again, apologies on any confusion. Let's try to clarify it today, tomorrow, and then it's all going to be about being creative. All right. So again, if you do need a computer, you just do not have one for this semester, you got to let me know today. Today. Because I'm going to put a fire under the feet of the people who take care of it to try to get it out, you know. All right, let's move on. That's the best I could do right now. So again, this is how you email me, right? This is the only email address that I'm going to check constantly for you. Now, I want to tell you why that is. By the way, you can't miss it. It was on the alert that I sent you. It's on the top of every handout right up here. It's on the web page. It's everywhere.
Sir,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Just want to say that, just want to ask you about like how long this class period is. How long weeks, like how many weeks?
So, you know,
6 weeks. He said it.
Yeah,
6
you're going to have to
weeks.
listen a little closer or watch the video after class, because honestly, half your questions I keep on saying. But I'll say it one more time. We're going to run straight through June, right? So there's 23 classes. You could look at your calendar starting today, right? The class is Monday to Thursday. Only this week we're starting on Tuesday because of the holiday, right? So then it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until we're done. 23 classes. Look, here, this is going to be helpful to you. Take a look. All right, here's better. This is better. Give me 1 second here. What's today? Here we are. So let me just move some stuff out of the way so I can see what I'm talking about. Here's where we're at. This is today, right? So I'm going to see you. This blue ones are you. These are the three of us. 3 days this week. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look, that's June. Let's go to June. Straight through June. All Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. I hope that helps. The last day is July 2nd. So just 2 days in July. That number 23 means the 23rd class. Excuse me. Okay, I hope that settles it, guys. It really, frankly, I understand it's not grounding to be unclear. This is why my calendar looks that, you know, excessive.
I got it now. Now it's so more clear, I guess.
Okay, good. All right, so let me come back. All right, that's what today's for, just to get clarity. So guys, you will be emailing me here. Feel free to email me anytime. I'm going to be checking this email almost every day, probably not on the weekends, but I'll be looking for your email. I want to be helpful, right? If you need a computer, make the subject line of your email say, I need a computer loan. Folks, do you get a lot of email every day? I'll bet you do. And I bet you only read the ones that catch your interest. So you have to help me. So only use this email address because it's devoted to you. No one else gets this email. So this way you won't get lost, you know, in a flood of other email. This is why you got to use that address. And this is the subject line, all right? You could say whatever you want in that email. Just make sure I have your name, and I'm going to move it forward. Let's talk about this class now. So let's assume quickly everyone in here gets equipped. Now, so you got that computer. You're ready for the software. What software are we talking about and why? Right? So let's get a look at this right here. And I'm going to use the software breakdown as a way to talk about the subject of the class a little bit. So the first subject's actually web design. And here you see this thing called Sublime Text 3. And here's a live link to get it. So I want to say this. Your homework today, if you have a computer, is to get Sublime Text today. We're going to be using it tomorrow together. You're going to be writing, you make your first web page tomorrow, unless you have experience with this, and you'll be shocked. It's going to be like that. It isn't going to be beautiful yet, and then we'll spend a few days making it beautiful, getting better at it. So this is free. Here's the link. You can use it on Windows and Mac. It's not downloadable on anything else, on tablets or Chromebook, unfortunately. We do need a browser, and I'd like you to use Chrome. Now, I'm betting that most of you guys are in Chrome right now, that you Zoom in Chrome. Some of you might be on Firefox, or what's the big Mac one that everybody likes, Safari, for the Mac. They would all work in my class. They're all fine. It's just that Chrome is by far the most popular. Almost everyone on the internet right now, at least 85%, if not 90% of the world is on Chrome. So what that means is when we learn how to do a web page, you know exactly what it's going to look like for those people. Also, if we need to change preferences or erase something, go into the history, I could show you how to do it. I can't go showing you on every browser, so I'm going to be using Chrome. So if you don't have Chrome, do a search, free Chrome or free Google Chrome, and get it. And it's a great browser. All right. Now, you notice how these two are in blue? That's because we're going to be using them this week and a little bit of next week. So I want you to get these right away, right? The others are coming in a different order. So I'll tell you a little bit about what to expect. I don't know why I wrote sound editing next, because that's not in time order. But since it's there, I'm going to do a little later in the semester. We're going to be using this thing called Audacity. Now, I don't know if any of you like to edit sound. I could tell some of you like music. But you might enjoy editing sound, and it's a big part of multimedia life. So let's say you like doing the web design stuff, and then you're thinking, you know what, I want to post some of my spoken word poetry on my website. You're going to need to edit that sound together, and you'd use something like Audacity. Let's move on to Photoshop. I'm guessing that some of you guys have different levels of Photoshop experience. Some of you might have tried it a little, and some of you might use it a lot. Some of you have never tried it, but have heard of it. Photoshop is fantastic. Every photographer uses Photoshop, and everyone who wants to do anything cool or practical using photographs uses Photoshop. Now, I want you to notice something up here. The next three items are all Adobe. This one should say Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Animate, Adobe Premiere Pro. So let's get this out of the way. Adobe rules the commercial artist's life. You know, so multimedia artists are just one form of commercial artist. I'm going to say more about multimedia, of course, today. I just got to get through the tech. But Adobe, they're just an inescapable behemoth of a company. They're one of the reasons why there's no way I could teach this class without stuff that's costly. But in a weird, indirect way, we got peculiar luck. I don't even want to dare call this luck, anything to do with COVID. But Adobe gave all college students and teachers free access to their software a couple months back. It was a shocking move for a company that large to give stuff away for free. The thing that I didn't expect was when the semester ended, they extended the free window to the day after our class, which is just, you know, amazing luck. I had almost told the school I can't teach this class. You know, if I can't use the tools, I can't teach the class. But as it turns out, Adobe extended it. So that's just amazing. I have not recently pursued the link, but this is the link. Oops, I just clicked it. To the CUNY instructions about how to do it. And I want to just say a couple quick words about when do you need to do that. We're not going to be using anything Adobe till the end of next week. But if you're the type who likes to prepare early, follow that link, see if you can get yourself connected sooner. You know, this way it's one thing off your mind. Adobe sells, I don't know, say 20 programs, and at least half of them are called Creative Cloud. They're presented as a suite, the Creative Cloud Suite. And what they're giving away is a free subscription for the next month, roughly, a little more, to the Creative Cloud Suite. So it includes the things we're going to use, Photoshop, which is the word in manipulating photo. You're going to love the Photoshop part of this class. Adobe Animate, which I completely love. I'm hoping some of you are animation majors. Oh, you are? So, you know, essentially, I teach 2D animation at this school. So
yes, I think I'm taking a 2D animation in the fall. I'm not sure which professor I picked, but
well, if you like my
I'm excited
class,
for it.
if you like my class, you're invited to take mine in the fall. You'll
Okay.
know if you like my style by then. So if you hate this class, stick with the professor you already got. But we're going to be, in my class, we focus on, in my 2D animation class, we use the same software. So people coming out of MMP 100 have a little advantage. They go in there, they already got a start. So that's all Adobe stuff, Adobe Animate. Adobe Premiere Pro, I'm imagining I have some video majors in here too. Adobe Premiere Pro rocks. There's 3 or 4 competing video programs out there. So it's not like Photoshop where everybody has to know it. When it comes to video and animation, you do get choices, but I'm choosing big ones and ones that are included in Creative Cloud, which you're currently getting for free. Anybody have any Creative Cloud questions for me? This is a good time to ask. No? It's a great opportunity. Yes.
Just like a question for myself, like how much it will be more, I mean, useful for me this class as a computer science major.
As a computer science major, you know, I'm glad you asked that. You know, the computer science majors really love my class, and you know, when I asked them, you know, why? Because you know, we don't go into like deep operating system stuff or networking or, you know, this is about media, in which we're going to be talking about any minute. But they have 2 points of view. One is, for one, if you're doing support in a large outfit where people are using varied media, you can't support people if you don't know anything about the media. Let's say Photoshop's crashing all the computers, it's going to help to know a little bit about Photoshop. But beyond that, digital literacy is something that really interests me. And that's for anyone going into computers at all, you want to be the most literate person around. But for anybody, let's say you're a liberal arts major, and I do hope I have a couple liberal arts majors here. I believe in liberal arts quite wholeheartedly. But one thing you need in the 21st century is a strong set of roots in the digital world. You know, strong set of roots. I mean, we're not going to all these places, but like you need to know social media to be a 21st century person. You know, you need to get around your computer. You need to know how to work with your home network. And all these things are obvious to your generation. But how to go deeper? Do you understand photography? Listen, we all get sucker punched by the media. I worked in news. So I'm going to say something controversial for a moment. I was the Photoshop guy at a newspaper. And I had the ability to make someone look more innocent or more guilty before their photo went into the newspaper. And frankly, I never made anyone look guilty when I worked at that newspaper. But I did make some people look better. And in retrospect, I feel like that's kind of cheating. You know, they weren't like rock stars. They weren't models. They were like politicians. One politician, I took his bodyguards out. I mean, the guy called the newspaper and said, could you have your guy take my bodyguards out of the photo? Because I'm known for being friendly and I look like a mafia. I look like a tough guy with these big fellas behind me. You know, so I literally took them out. So, but about digital literacy, you know, when you get intimate to how movies are made, you appreciate how movies are made. When you know how photos are treated, you read the news differently. You see the news differently. So digital literacy is about being a modern person. And let's get to the point. In a few minutes, I just want to talk about media. But bear with me.
Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating too, I guess. Like
and that's the other thing your peers have said to me. They just find it interesting. They went into computers because they're just interested in that world. And then it gets bigger. The computer world seems even bigger each thing you learn. You know, I'm utterly fascinated myself by I'm a big fan of robotics. I'm a big fan of artificial intelligence. I follow these areas very closely, even though I'm an artist. I definitely notice how the software and technology I use relates to the technology scientists use. And digital literacy just makes a more vivid life at this moment in time, as well as a more creative one. So I want to move forward a little bit, but let me just finish what I need to say about the software. Make sure you have Sublime Text by tomorrow if you can. the couple of you who won't have computers ready by tomorrow, just be prepared to take notes and watch as closely as you can, right? I'm gonna, try to turn that around quickly, but you're gonna have to watch very closely, and that's the best we're gonna be able to do at first. So that's why it's in blue. Follow that link, see if you could load it, move forward. I'd like you to also get Chrome if you can. I'm checking my chats now and then to make sure I'm not leaving people out. All right, let me move on. I already talked about attendance, so I don't really want to say a hell of a lot. Those of you who panicked because you thought the class was half as long, who could blame you? A 1 hour class sounds a hell of a lot easier. This class is usually taught in a 4 hour format, or twice a week for 2 hours. This is intense. But I got to tell you, the students last summer, they just loved it. It was some kind of weird ride they got on they didn't expect to get on. By the end, there was so much creative opportunity, people didn't know what to do with themselves. I hope that was physical, in the room, but I'm going to do my best to share that same energy with you. But yeah, if a person does the homework, well, they're going to pass the class. I'm going to keep an open mind about attendance. I'm very resistant, very resistant. I'm not here to hand out credits to people. That's not why I teach. I teach for much deeper reasons. But if you could do all the homework, that means you're watching the videos. So you're doing your best, given your own circumstances. So yeah, I'll be taking attendance, but mostly just so I could see how things are going. So if you cannot come to class, just know you must watch the videos as though you were here. You want to be included in the best way you can in this modern method of ours. My office hours are going to be between 12 and 12:30. So that's going to be problematic for people that have to work. So they're going to have to send me email with as much detail when they need me as possible. See how best I could tech support. Look, a lot of it's going to be realistically, how many people do we really have in this class? 6. Right now, this is a very manageable group. We could have a really solid class where you can get the attention you need. If this class doubles, it's going to be a little more challenging for everybody, for me. All right, I mentioned this link so you can see how handy the handout is. Anything that requires a link, it's here. This is where the videos are going to be. There's no videos up yet, but there will be later today. After class, I'm going to post this one. Folks, would you like a 5-minute break before we switch into the real subject? Because I want to tell you what I mean. The real subject is multimedia. How do we make stuff that dominates the cultural world today? How do we do it? We're all engaged in multimedia all day now, more than ever before. This is multimedia right now. So this class is about that. It's not about grades and attendance and the rest of it. It's about learning, as school should really, really be. So how about, you want to take a 5-minute break? Let's do it. It's 10 to 11. Let's start at 5 to 11. I have the feeling some people might show up because of that, mistake on the student center, But we're going to start again at 5 to 11. Everybody, please check your watches. Don't come back late. We're going to be talking about more interesting stuff right after this 5-minute breather. All right? Okay. Hello, kitty. All right.
Mm.
All right. I'm sharing my screen again. So again, if anyone came late today, don't feel too bad about it. It's first day, we're getting the hang of it. And I know there was some different information on the schedules for this class. I could tell there's strangeness going on because this class doesn't even show up on my CUNY first. The whole semester doesn't even show up, but it does on Blackboard. So I have everyone, obviously registered as as I said, the class historically is not taught online. So there were a lot of late in the semester changes. Okay, I want to get back to that handout, tell you more about what we're actually going to do. So again, if you came late, I just want to say, be sure to watch the video, which will be posted probably about an hour after class. Sorry, about an hour after class. Watch the part of the video for the class that you missed. And I want to come back to this. Okay, so the big question is then, like, what really is multimedia? And of course, how does that affect us directly? But multimedia is one of the broadest terms that I think I've ever heard an art form use. Let me just close my door here. For example, if you're in the arts and you're a painter, someone asks you, "Oh, I hear you're an artist." You say, "Yes, I'm a painter." Okay, we have a rough idea what that is. But once you start, say, gluing sticks to that painting, are you still a painter? Depends who you ask. You're a painter, but by then you're a multimedia artist. So whenever you start mixing media, you're in the realm of multimedia. So we can make an argument that movies alone are multimedia, since it's generally live action footage of the actors, audio of the performance, audio of the music, audio of the sounds, the car blowing up, the door slamming, possibly some animation even at the opening or ending sequence. And that's a lot of media. So yeah, so in a way, yes, absolutely. Movies are multimedia. But when we say multimedia in this culture at this point in time, we usually are referring to a screen-based experience like movies and like the web and like animation. That's what we usually mean. But I got to be honest, I'm not comfortable with that because that definition keeps changing. Even 10 years ago, if you said someone was a multimedia artist, you might have. Listen to this for a second. By the way, for any of you who are not prone toward lectures, you're in a good class because, like as I said, starting tomorrow, most of the time we're making stuff together. So I'm showing you stuff and we're actually making stuff. Today, it's more of a lecture, but about multimedia. So I work in a lot of art forms, but not in dance. I don't know anything about dance, but I admire it. So I was admiring this very famous dancer who's, Baryshnikov. He was one of the most famous ballet dancers of the late 20th century, early this century as well. Multimedia, ballet, how? Well, this is how. Toward his later career, he started performing solo with more modern dance. And one performance went like this. He had a wireless microphone attached to his chest just above the heart. In a rather large theater, his heart was being broadcast to the audience, right? So he walks out very slowly, and there's the very slow heartbeat. And he's dancing to the drum of his own heart. Now, naturally, the more he dances, the heart rate goes up, right? Because that's the way the heart works. So then he starts to dance to that heart rate, which naturally brings his heart rate up. So he's dancing to that. I think it's mind-blowingly brilliant. Talking about our relationship to rhythm, our relationship to music, the bodily reaction we have to sound, to patterns, to repeat patterns. It was multimedia. So I'm now and then going to branch out of the digital media that we're focusing on to the larger meaning of what multimedia is. The Egyptian pyramids were multimedia. You know, really, frankly, any good cathedral, good church knows about multimedia. The priest comes out and waves the incense, now smells one of the media. So what about us? Not only us in quarantine, but us even when we're not. So much of our life is virtual. You know, when you were little, I mean, really little, you know, and someone was looking on the desktop of a computer and they saw an image of a folder, it was still at the point where people were like, look how cool, that little picture looks like a folder. You know, if I double click it, there's things in it. You know, look how cool, a picture of a folder, a virtual folder. But in no time, you don't see it as a virtual folder. You see it as a folder. So right now, it's really different how we see what used to be a virtual world is now much more part integrated in with what we used to call the real and physical world. There's definitely a different relationship emerging to our experiences we can see right here. So anyway, multimedia. But for us, the multimedia is going to start on the web because that's now where it all is. So the movies go there, musicians show up there, animations show up there, interactive games, heavy multimedia in gaming, that all shows up there. So we're talking about now the internet first because it's the new theater. It's the main theater, and it's the theater that we invest in good chunks of our day. So we're going to start with web design. We're going to need to move into photo imaging after that for two reasons. One is practical day-to-day. Any of you, regardless of the field that you're going in, if you have to work with images, you're going to have to work with Photoshop. There are options out there, yes, but in the professional world, they're just not used. Unfortunately, Photoshop has a monopoly. I don't like that, but I do like Photoshop. So I'm going to forgive it because you could do anything with it. So we're going to combine two sides of Photoshop. One is practical. How do you get the photo to the right shape and size? How do you correct it if it doesn't look so good? Like most of us right now have random lighting in our rooms, you know. And if I was going to take a photo of any of you in the lighting now, I couldn't use it for anything professional. It looks like a snapshot. So I could either relight it or I could Photoshop it. So on the one hand, I'm talking practical, correcting photos, which we're going to do, and sizing photos. The other side, though, is irresistible. How do you make magic out of Photoshop? You know, really, you know, maybe we have stories to tell, modern fantasies to tell, where New York is not only quarantined, it's underwater. You know, we're all living in diving suits. We could do this with Photoshop, and that's called montage. Similar to collage, but in a montage, sometimes you don't want people to know necessarily that it's a trick. You know, and we're going to learn a bunch of those skills, and that's a lot of fun. That should be starting late next week, I think, off the top of my head. I'm not promising I'm going to go in this exact order, but I do believe the next one up is going to be sound. We all love sound, most of us. I think there's probably no one here that never listens to music, and there's some of us who listen to music all the time. But also, when you watch movies, if you just turn off the sound, even in a scene where no one's talking, your favorite movie, and you're suddenly like, sound design is an incredible art form, and so often we don't even notice it. We notice music, but the magic decisions of if a couple's breaking up and you're watching a breakup scene, and even if their sound goes out, you see them shouting there and having a bad breakup, and you're hearing the sound of an earthquake in the background, you get what's going on. You'll feel it. Now, you might not remember later when someone says, what was the sound during the breakup scene? But some brilliant sound designer knew the psychology of sound. And once you know the psychology of sound, you need a way to put it together. We're going to use Audacity. Audacity is free, and you can get it anytime you want. It does require one of the major operating systems, so we're back to that subject, right? But on those computers that let you download software. Oh, by the way, someone was chatting support for Surfaces, saying that yes, a Surface is full-blown operating system, Windows operating system. And thank you for contributing in the chat. So if you have a Surface computer, you should be good. I love sound design. I do a fair amount of it. I want to say something quickly since we have mixed majors in the room. One of my goals is to teach this class that everyone has a good experience when we get near your major, but you have an equally good experience when we're further from your major because of, the ecology of the arts, of the modern world. So I don't know how you're all going to feel about sound design. So let me talk to the multimedia people for a minute, the video people and the animators. Whether or not you like sound design, you have to sound design. Multimedia, video, and audio. Because listen, down the road, you're going to know sound designers and maybe they'll do everything with you. But along the way, sometimes that's just not practical. You're going to have to do some amount yourself. So we really want to get that off the ground. That covers a lot of this class, those 3 majors. Definitely not everybody, but a lot of people. And it's fun. So we're going to be doing some cool sound design using Audacity, again, free software.
Teacher?
Yes.
I have a question. So have you used FL Studio? Are we going to use that one too?
No, and I haven't. So do you use it?
No, well, I saw many people that they use that one for music and things like that. I thought that
Could you say the name again? I didn't catch the name. Say that.
FL Studio. FL Studio.
FL, like
F, yeah.
I've never heard of it. The ones that I know best are Logic, which is made by Apple. Logic's amazing. I do use Logic, but we're not going to use that in class today.
Okay.
Fruity Loops is a big one amongst musicians. Probably the biggest one in video and animation is Pro Tools. But the Creative Cloud also has a sound editor in there. And if I knew more about it, I would be tempted to use that, since a lot of you guys are going to get Creative Cloud and have it for years. Those of you going into these fields are going to have to keep Creative Cloud. So I'd be curious, but no one was really talking about Adobe's sound editor. So I'm a little hesitant to use things that aren't common. So I just want to say about, yes.
Can you just show us like how it looks, this Audacity software?
I'll give you a peek at it. I want to say in general, though, we're going to focus on the first stuff as of tomorrow. We're getting down on web design, and it's all going to be in Sublime Text. This is what Audacity looks like. Look, it's not pretty, but it's amazingly effective. I'm kind of shocked by how well this free thing works. I use it constantly. I use it mostly for animation. I'll do my own voiceover, my own voice. In fact, at BMCC, lots of people are using my voice. I've seen myself as an owl. Very funny. But a lot of the people are doing the sound in Audacity, where they're cleaning it up and they're taking noise out and sometimes mixing it with music or multi-tracking with music. So it's pretty cool. So that's my plan, is using Audacity right now. Fake and everyone else, I want you to keep in mind, your teacher's a multimedia guy. So I'm not going to say when I do video editing that I'm going to compete with a person who only video edits. I know people like that. That's their whole job, 20, 30 years, just video editing. I'm a multimedia guy. That's why I teach this class. So this class is about how media mixes in many, many ways. Yes, there are other big programs. I would love it if some of you loved what we do in Audacity and move forward. If you're going into media, I guess I'd look at Pro Tools first. Pro Tools is made to work with film. So in other words, you could bring the movie in while you're sound editing and pause when the arrow hits the beast. So you could, design the beast's shriek, put it on the timeline in the right place. But that's expensive, and it often comes with hardware, sliders and stuff.
Professor, is that in the software too? Like, for example, if we are talking and we want to use something as a background sound in our video, so can we through this software?
Absolutely. And what's more, Premiere itself, which is the video program we're going to use, also can do some pretty decent sound. So you'll have some choices by the end of this semester. But yes, you could definitely arrange sound in Audacity, especially if it's music, to bring it into your movie. I got to say, like, if I was doing sound design expressly for movies, I want a program that lets me bring the movie in. You know, I don't want to guess. I really want to watch exactly what's going on so I could be very sensitive as I figure out my sound. So Audacity wouldn't be perfect, but as I said, I use it a lot. I use it a lot to make parts, really, that I'll bring in elsewhere. I want to see if, give me 1 second, don't go anywhere. Last semester, I kept trying to persuade my cat to say hello, and she just wouldn't do it the whole semester. So this is my big moment. Teachers have cats. What do you know? Humans too. Her name's Andromeda. How's that a big name for a little cat? All right. Can't do that in the classroom. So, all right, where was I? So I'm using the software as a way to, I'm combining it with what the real topics are. So listen, when we get to animation, we spend quite a bit of time, by the way, this semester in animation. I have a few reasons for that, but one is it's the fastest growing department in the communication design window at this school. There's just a lot of animators coming up lately. So we're gonna hit it kind of hard. It's also in the Creative Cloud Suite. Can I interject something? We're getting that free Adobe thing, so that's fantastic. But if you're going into any of the art majors, you're gonna have to keep your Adobe programs. They're almost unavoidable. And for students, it's pretty cheap. So I don't remember, I don't know if any of you know, maybe sometime over the semester I could look, but I think it's $17 a month or something. And you do sign a year contract though, but it's for everything they have, the whole Creative Cloud Suite. So you get everything we're using and other great programs. It's an amazing deal that you get as a student. We could talk more about it toward the end of the semester because now you're getting it for free. So it doesn't make too much sense to talk about it. All right, Adobe Animate is an amazing program that comes in that I know rather well. So I think a lot of you are going to really enjoy that part. Video is highly addictive. God, do I make videos. I've only directed one movie, almost killed me. So I don't think I'm going to do that again. But I've edited a lot. And this part of the class is going to be mostly about video editing. And you'll never, if you've never done it before, you will never see a movie the same after you've done some editing on your own. It really changes everything. I want to mention this last one kind of briefly. It's not my favorite one, though it's growing on me. It's called P5. You might see it back there. Programming. A couple words about programming. Again, today's the only really long lecture like this, but I do want to talk about P5 a little bit. We're starting the class at the beginning with HTML. Now, most of you have heard of it. That's the language you make websites with. We're using its cousin called CSS, which makes it beautiful. So we're doing HTML and CSS, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's not the kind of code, though, that lets a person design whole programs. You know, somebody out there invented Photoshop, and they had to program it. Someone invented the Mac and had to program the operating system, or, you know, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates did his Windows thing. So those are deeper programming languages. One of the goals of this class is to get people a little interested in programming to see if it's useful to them. So some of you are going to fall in love with HTML at the beginning and CSS and say, I want more. More is going to mean JavaScript. So bear with me for a minute. Web designers, a lot of you are going to want more JavaScript. Not everyone, but a lot. Animators, even animators these days are getting more involved with programming. This recent movie, this girl, I forget the name of the movie, she had this mane of red hair. She's like a Viking girl, 3D animation. I think she was a Viking girl.
Brave.
Brave, thank you. Where they program the hair. So, I mean, they could have her doing anything they wanted, and every single lock of hair knew the physics of how hair would behave with that kind of air around her, wind, breeze, gravity, crazy stuff. So how do you get started? Well, you know, JavaScript, as I mentioned, is the next big up language that makes people money. And a lot of people get involved with it because once you learn it, you could branch off to other languages that share elements with it. It's a central kind of language, you know? You know how like If you speak Spanish, they say it's easy to learn French. I don't know. My family speaks French and Spanish. I do not, so don't even try it. But they do. My wife and daughter, they do. So I listen. I talk too much in the classroom anyway. But JavaScript is a central language like that. So now one of its most playful siblings is called P5, right? So that's P5. And it's a great way, in a playful way, to see what programming is like while doing something artistic with it. People draw with P5. They make animations with P5. It's a lot of work if you ask me, but it's kind of fun. And it introduces elements of programming that you'll find in any language. So it's very common in schools, with schools and artists, sort of both those crowds seem to use a fair amount of P5. That's it. This is our class you're looking at back there, right? So I'm gonna just zoom in on this. So these are the subjects, these 6. Now they're not getting even attention. You know, I'm gonna spend probably the least time with sound and P5 and more time with everything else as they relate more to what we do at this school. Folks, we're going to wrap up a little early today, not just yet, you know, today's like just an introduction, you know, but I do want to make sure I didn't forget anything. You know, I apologize that I didn't change this. I had to change all my paperwork for this new online experience. Here it says that attendance and homework and participation equals your grade. I'm going to have to be open-minded about attendance. Since it's my last chance to make an appeal as not so much as the deliverer of information, but as someone who wants to support you and your education, there's always 2 ways to take any class, right? There's the, I'm going to survive this because I need the credits. And on the other side, there's I'm going to flourish because there may be something of value. I'm going to flourish. I'm human. Even though I'm a professor here, I remember college, some of my classes I took just because they fit my schedule. And I might not have given them the most energy. I don't know why you're in my class, to be blunt, because you're all on here for different reasons, right? That means you may be coming with different levels of investment. If you're here just because you need those credits, so your idea is to make it as easy as possible on yourself, I may not be thrilled with that, but I do get it. Do all the homework and watch all the videos. You skip even one homework because there's so few, you're kind of in trouble. I want to show you something quickly that I kind of rigged up before you got here. I was debating whether to add a 5th homework, you know, because I think I could give people more chances to do well. But the current map is exactly like this. The first homework you're not going to get till next week, and it is going to be using HTML and CSS, and it's an easy one, so it only gets 15% of your grade. The next homework's large, and it's a 4-page website with real words and real photos. Don't let that scare you. You'll be ready when we get there. And I'm going to be here to support you as much as possible through screen sharing and other options. So that's over 1/3 of your grade. So you can see it's hard to pass this class if you miss anything. You know, I mean, you could miss you could miss any one of these from the looks of it and barely pass. So anyway, don't miss the homeworks. That's my advice for everybody. You know, anyone watching this video later, or any of you that are here now. You know, before I started doing this, I kind of wanted to be in one of these boxes. I always thought it was kind of interesting. The other day, my daughter and I were Zooming with family, and I handed her something. It was so weird. I went like this, and she was on her own computer, so she took it. Can you imagine if the next box over took my coffee? I want to arrange that with a bunch of people as a performance. I think that'd be so cool. Anyway. All right, so you all see the homework map? You see what you're getting involved with? So the thing about those homeworks is none of them are easy. Like maybe you know how to video edit already. And so that one you're like, okay, I got it in the bank. I don't know, right? But nobody's going to know all those things. All right. I want to address a question that nobody asked, but I feel like it was under the hood. what if you want to do one of the assignments in different software? You know, say we get to the video program, video part of our show, and you want to use a different program. You know, I'm okay with that. If you could meet all the requirements of a given project, a different tool. Frankly, if I was teaching painting, I wouldn't care if you used acrylic or oil paint. I taught painting for years, by the way. I'd be like, you know, do the work, do it as well as you can. So I'll stay open-minded to that.
May I ask,
Yes.
how do you feel about torrenting? Like, to get things that's just, is that like as illegal as playing?
You know, how about I make believe I don't know what that means, and we just move forward. Let me be blunt. Marissa, I got to ask you, have you studied with me before? You look so familiar.
Yes, I was in the previous semester, but after the transition, I decided to retake this. And
Got it. So this time, this is the gold. This time. But listen, about the torrenting question, I am not in a position to either sanction or judge anyone for how they get stuff. And I don't know much about torrent. And I do know that it's generally not legal and never going to be sanctioned by a school. But what a person does in their private life is their own business.
Okay.
Okay. But listen, never feel, you know, shy about asking me stuff, even if I have to give you an answer like that one. So, all right. I want to talk to you about what's coming up, okay? Because we're just going to introduce some themes, and tomorrow we're actually get our hands on it, right? So the first step is to see the internet differently by making web pages. And I would like to say that I think that's a great place to start for modern creativity. You know, guys, I want to say an interjection for a moment. I wish all of you the most creative life possible. I really do. In dark times and in good times and lavish times. Whether that pays your bills or not, I wish you creative lives. So I do want to say something about the internet, though. It's changed everything. And the thing that it's changed most is our experience of time. Because before that, if you're going to read a book, you started at the beginning and you ended at the end. And with a magazine, you flipped through it the same way, even though you made choices. It was still essentially synchronous, in order. And most of the semester is synchronous. The sound is going to be in order. The video is going to be in order. You know, you watch a movie in order after all, right? The animation in order, but not the web. Not the web. There's no such thing as page one, really. Well, in a way there is. The home page is always page one, but all the other pages could be page two. So it's asynchronous. Now I want to do an experiment with you to prove a point. Your mind is not synchronous. You've learned to make it synchronous so that you could do certain things. If you've been baking bread, like people seem to like to do during COVID, right? You either had to learn how to do it or you had to whip out your recipe and go in order. But if I ask you, hey, how do you feel about bread? You might have memories that your mind goes directly to of the kind of bread you like, or, oh, I'm Cuban, so I just love the Cuban bread. And the last time I had it was down in Fort Lauderdale, you know, visiting, you know, Abuela, you know, or whatever your references are, you know, that's not synchronous. If you had a crush on someone in high school and he or she, you know, wore some kind of a perfume, you know, lavender perfume, next time you get in an elevator and somebody has lavender perfume, your brain is totally asynchronous. So I think what's interesting for us as a culture is we're learning how to communicate in less synchronous ways, which are more like the way you think when you're alone. You don't think in any kind of order whatsoever. Your brain bounces around like a ping pong ball. This is why everybody's meditating lately. You know, they're learning how to draw it all home. Frankly, if you're already a creative person, or an athlete, because they're very similar in some ways, you know how to bring your concentration to one place. That guy with the football who's watching everybody run all over the place, there's so much going on. Who could actually calculate this? He's sort of calculating who's likely to get into a clearing and how hard to throw a ball to reach the place the guy hasn't even arrived at. What kind of crazy focus is that? He can't be thinking, I'm hungry. Or did I finish watching, did I ever see the last season of Breaking Bad? No, he's like, laser beam focus. You know, and so it's interesting how we skip around from focus to asynchronous thinking. So I think the internet's fabulous. It really helps us with both. I'm not going to say too much about the nerdier stuff because we'll get our hands on. But, you know, really, the internet today does have to work on these 3 different devices. And that is a little bit harder. So I got to say, if you're going into web design, I know one of the advanced web design teachers is the head of the department. I'm sure he's really good, Chris Stein. And, you know, he's going to focus with, okay, you guys learned what you learned from Ira, from whoever, in MMP 100. And he's going to focus more on how to get it to behave really well on small devices and even smaller devices and then really big devices. That's called responsive web design. It responds to the size of the screen. And it's a challenge. So while we learn what we learn, I'm going to head in that direction. I'm going to make everything as responsive as we can in the time that we have so people get a good start. So I'm focusing just on the next few classes right now, by the way. Everything I'm saying now is to get ready for tomorrow and the next few classes after that. So, you know, communication design is a term that I like. Like you may be in different majors here. Some schools have a graphic design department and a, say, a web design department or a multimedia department. And if they say graphic design, they usually mean ink. You know, person's going to be making mugs or magazines or books or things you hold, boxes. So they're graphic designers. They're not thinking about screens. The multimedia people now, right, despite my dancer story, you know, right now you go to school for multimedia, you're thinking mostly screens. Not only, you know, you could be going into the theater, you know, be the multimedia director for theater. That couldn't be more fun. But right now we're starting with screens. So, you know, communication design is largely on the screen as it is right now. Hey, you want to hear something kind of weird about this new world of ours? So I don't use passwords, right? Somebody who wrote me, I already wrote you back. I'm not going to use passwords. If anyone wants to like steal a peek at this class, let them. If they're not going to cause trouble, I give away information. So I put up videos for a class. And the other day I was cleaning up to, you know, should I keep these? Should I not? And one of them had 160 something visits. There were 20 students in that class. I think that's bizarre. Who found this place? Like 140 total strangers took my class. Don't tell anybody. I really don't know how the school's going to feel about that, you know, but it's asynchronous, you know. These people have met me. I have not met them, you know. How bizarre. All right. So we're talking entertainment, obviously. Right? Our culture is addicted to entertainment. I think there's very few of us who spend less than 3-4 hours a day devoted to entertainment. This started with my generation, or maybe my parents, but there was never that much entertainment expected by any individual anywhere in the world, not even a king, to be entertained that much. But okay, the internet and entertainment we all know about. Classes we all know about. Your opinion, your blog, your website, what you could do after this, right? I hope you're all peace-loving, big-hearted people, because I hate teaching this stuff to mean people. I taught the day of 9/11, and I warned everyone in that class, well, the world was falling apart around us. If you're a hater, I'm going to ask you to leave. I'm going to go get you your money back, because I don't want to teach you how to spread it with the web, because that's how powerful it is, communication design. So naturally, we need images, right? We have a hard time sustaining attention on many things without images. Some of you are book readers who are comfortable reading hundreds of pages, but in the culture today, let's be honest, at least half the culture or more, they need images or they're just not going to follow along. So we're going to move into Photoshop. Let's talk about the code a little bit. So I want to ask you, so you guys without cameras, I'm assuming you just don't have cameras. But if you want to say hi, I'm not going to force anyone this semester. I did last semester. It was required to have the camera on if you had one. But this semester, since you all signed on for a remote class, I think that buys you a little more freedom. But some of you I haven't seen yet or heard from, so I'm wondering if you're really there. It's up to you. Let's talk about code. HTML is fun. You know, I want to show you guys something. If I go to a website and I'm going to back up for a second here. So this is the website you all got to get here. I want to show you something. If I'm in Chrome and I'm going to the menus on top to the view menu, and I'm choosing this developer view source. This is the HTML for the web page you were just looking at. You could look at anybody's code, right? So once you take my class, you're going to recognize about half this code, right? And people are interested are going to say, well, what's the rest? And you go about learning the rest, right? So you could actually look at people's code. And I will do that again when it matters more to us. So we're going to learn some HTML tomorrow. You're going to get yourself something called Sublime. I want to show you what it looks like. Sublime Text. I know Fake was interested in seeing what software looks like, so have a look. And I want to tell you a little bit about this. By the way, this is the code for the same page because I was working on it right before class. This is where I put today's handout, which we've been looking at with screen sharing. Here's my very boring syllabus for people who want to look at it. But this is the code that actually got it online. So really, what this program is, Sublime Text, it's a text editor. I'll bet you every one of you have used Microsoft Word at some point. So this is Microsoft Word for web design. And I want to say a little bit, I don't really care if you use Sublime Text because they're all the same. There's at least dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of free code editors. They're like free versions of Microsoft Word, except for that they're better with code. The reason I chose Sublime Text is it's the one that the school uses when we're in the physical school. It's the one most schools use because it's that good and it's free. So this is the one you want to get by tomorrow. It looks pretty empty, but you're going to be glad you have it because we're gonna write code. I'm telling you, tomorrow. So please have this ready before 10 in the morning, so that you're ready to join me. It'll be a head rush. You'll see how much fun that could be. Very nerdy.
I'm excited.
Are you, Andy? I'm glad.
I'm very excited.
I'm glad you feel that way. You know, it's hard to tell from your photo, which is rather dashing, like your tie.
Thank you.
It's good to hear that. This class is like all stuff that I love. This is one reason why I'm always first in line to teach it. These are things that I've experienced firsthand for myself. How fun they are. How much creative freedom they've given me. I'm going to interject something practical. Especially for multimedia people, but for everybody in here with an open mind. You don't know where your career is going to go. You really don't, especially those of you who are ultra young, 20s, 30s. Yes, 30s is young to me. It is to me. And I've changed my career so much. Here's proof of it. I was not called a multimedia artist. Fate made me a multimedia artist. One of the things I did stop making money. And I was like, oh, well, I was always interested in this. And then, I'm interested in this, and that could make a little more money. And then you add the whole thing together. It was like how to stay creative, because our souls need you to be creative while paying the bills, because your stomach needs you to feed it. So I think the web is a great place to start for anyone who shares that sensibility. There's so many things connected to it, or everything you could put on the web. Anyway, that's what Sublime looks for. That's the first and only thing I'm asking you for. By tomorrow, if you already have a computer. If you don't have a computer, I'm asking for you to send me that email so I can get you on that list I was telling you about. Let me get back here because we're getting toward the end of the class, and I want to make sure I don't forget anything. These handouts, they're for you, but they're also for me because I go off on tangents and they make sure that I don't forget anything important. Okay.
Professor?
Yes, please. Ask. Was there a question? I thought there was.
Yeah, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I just want to ask you, so we can use the images by downloading from Google?
This is a very good question. So I'll tell you how we're going to do it. We're not going to do images the first couple days because there's enough to learn without them. Then I'm going to supply you with some images, assets, which you're going to get right through this page. But I'm also going to go over how to use Google Images. And in fact, I want to tell you why. I'm going to tell you how to do it legally. And not only legally, to get the quality image you need. There's two issues that people don't know when they use Google Images. One, that half their images are illegal, and it's a federal crime if you make money on anything involving one of those. And even though it's a crime if you don't make money, they're probably not going to sue you. You know, they might tell you, take my pictures down. And I know several cases where that happened, and to friends of mine and others. So there are ways using Google Images to make sure you're not in any trouble. You know, that whoever posted the photo said you could use it. Also going to deal with sizing to make sure things look good on a professional level. So you can't take little, have you ever noticed when you print something out from the web, it always prints badly? I don't know if any of you ever printed photos out. They never look like real photos because they have different sizing issues. So we're going to learn how to work with those issues to make good choices. But the short answer is, for my class, yeah. If you can't wait, you want to use some images that you get yourself from Google Images, you go right ahead. Not selling anything. So we could, you know, be flexible. But when we get to the subject as a group, I'm going to tell you how to do it for real so you don't have to worry about any of the legal stuff. I want to tell you just a little bit before I wrap it up. So we are focusing for 4 days, maybe a little longer. I don't remember off the top of my head, on HTML and CSS languages that we could write in Sublime. If anyone does have an issue with Sublime, you can get brackets, which is also awesome and also free. Please do not use Dreamweaver. I don't want to spend time on it, but it makes people lazy. So Sublime is great, brackets is great. I want to mention one last thing for today about the web and the web part of this class. You know, one thing I'd love to do with you, but it isn't part of this class anymore, even though it once was, is teach you how to get the web pages from your computer onto the internet. Because, you know, if someone makes a TV show, doesn't mean you could see it, you know, just because they made it. Somebody needs to broadcast it, you know, so they look for somebody to broadcast it. When it comes to web design, you don't look for anybody, you choose them, but you do pay them. So we're eventually going to get to host companies, which I want to talk to you this semester about, that you pay. The most famous one at the moment is probably GoDaddy. So it's godaddy.com. And you'd go there or to some similar place to see if your web address is free. So I'm iraworks.com, but I also had urbanimage.com and I had floatingsky.com. And you go somewhere to see if it's free, and you pay some money, and it's yours for 2 years. And you pay every 2 years to keep it yours and to make sure no one steals it. Because someone stole Floating Sky from me, and they won't give it back for less than $400. And it wasn't even a commercial project. It was a personal project. And they just stole it. They're holding it ransom. They're kidnappers. They kidnapped my web address. So I'll tell you how to avoid it. But so all I can do is point people in the right direction after we learn some web design stuff. Like, I love it. I want my website up now. So I'll point you in the direction how to get started, how to get that web address, what you would need to upload, right? Because you'll be doing a lot of downloading with me, but we're talking about uploading now, where you're uploading from your computer, where your website's going to live, to the host, who's capable of giving it to the whole world. So if you're very, very popular, their computers can handle thousands of visits at the same time. Your computer couldn't, even if you knew how to rig something like that up. So that would be the last step, really. We don't have access at the moment to going live, and most colleges don't, so that's fairly ordinary. What I can do, hopefully at some point, is maybe demonstrate by going into my own website and showing you how I upload, so people could see how that's done. Anybody have any general classes about the topic, about the material? So look, here's the deal. If you love something, your big pain in the neck is that isn't going to last very long because we have 6 subjects in 23 days. So, but hopefully you'll move with the flow.
I have a question.
Yes, Clarissa.
For the people who don't have the laptop right now, if there's homework, by the time you get them, if we miss some homework or it's delayed, will we be penalized for it?
I'm not going to penalize anyone for late homework this semester.
Okay.
So I'm going to say whenever possible, stay on the deadline so that life is manageable. but I'm going to try to avoid any kind of grade impact on lateness. I can't promise infinitely, so let me back up a little, but definitely a couple of weeks. Well, the whole class is a couple of weeks. What am I talking about? Anyway, you got room. Especially you, especially anyone who's waiting for a computer. The first homework's given on the 4th class, so that's next, I guess that's Monday. So maybe we'll get lucky and be able to get your machines even by then, you know, or sooner. The first thing I'm going to do right after this, I'm checking my email to see if anyone wrote me, putting you on this list. So again, if you have not reached out to tell me you need a computer with Mac or Windows yet, you know, please send me an email like right now or chat me in the next few minutes. Or just tell me and I'll write it down right now. Turn on your mic, you could tell me. I'll do it like that. Let's just take a look. I want to show you something about the handouts. Every class is a new one. They all stay online, so you'll be able to look at the old handouts. They'll include links to the videos, to photos, assets, whatever we're going to need. Often links to software you might need. So there's always a last box that tells you if there's homework or not. It says for next class or, you know, or homework. Here it just says get prepared. And all I'm asking you to do is go get Sublime Text. And if you're not using Chrome, to go get Chrome. I got 2 live links. It'll work on Windows and the Mac. We are starting tomorrow. And I want to be really frank about this. My class is fun when you're joining me. So I'll be like, everybody type this, you know, try this. And you'll be like, wow, that worked. Or, oh my God, Ira, that didn't work. You know, and that's what's going to make the class, you know, truly engaging. So if you can be ready by tomorrow, please do. If you can't, I know that sucks. I really do. But if you're bravely choosing to stay while I try to get you computers, I feel lucky. Can't promise anything, but I just loved my boss's attitude about this. I liked the way he was talking about it. I could tell he's planning on, you know, this is unusual for schools to be given, you know, loaning people computers is just not common, not in large numbers. But he's a true believer. And so am I. So we're really, I felt very bad last semester. I'm sure you saw people, you know, some of you were amongst them, had to leave their classes. So I imagine maybe quite a few of you, I don't know. But I watched, some of my classes lost almost no one. I taught at 2 schools, so I had 100 students. So I lost, at FIT, I also teach there, I lost 1 student. I think that's because going in, they know they can't survive without the computer or the right machine. So people decide before they're going to go there whether they could invest. So they all had the computers, they all had the internet, they all had Adobe, whatever. But at this school, I got hit much, much harder. I lost, I would say 35%, maybe 40% of my students, so over a third, because people were unprepared. It was not their fault. They were used to coming to the lab. That's how I learned. I didn't have a computer. I kept going to the lab. I didn't like it, but you know, once I got momentum, I got my courage up and found some money and credit card, to be blunt. I just knew I had to make good on it if I was going to do it on a credit card. I had to make sure this thing was going to pay back, which it did. So sometimes buying the right tools is the best move. All right, folks. I feel like we thoroughly set the stage, right? So again, if you need a machine, reach out in any of the ways I've asked. If you've not yet done the survey, please promise me you'll do it right after this class. Just click the link on the handout at iraworks.com. Thank you for your questions and your participation. I'm delighted. Yes. Is there another question out there? No? But I like that. It's like I had this group last class. They were talented, they were sweet, but they refused to speak. Like, you know the people you don't want to go to dinner with? They were so sweet. I mean, but not dinner, man. These people, they just could not speak. It was like a whole group like that. I was like, guys, you're killing me. Someone say anything. Tell me the class is terrible. Just say something, for God's sake. Anyway, thank you for participating. I will see you all tomorrow. I'm going to stick around. I'm not going to do any office hours today, really. So I'm going to stick around. If anyone does, you know, really need to talk to me privately, you could let me know right now or even chat me, and I could figure out what to do. Usually questions like that are private are best in email. Oh, yes. can I repeat what I said about the email earlier? I will get email to my usual BMCC email, but it increases efficiency for all of us if you use the email I made for you alone, right? So that email address is all over the place. It's at the top of every handout, you know, for example, and it's repeatedly mentioned. So this is it, Ira, mmp100 at gmail.com. Some of you are already using it. Thank you. And I'm going to get to it immediately because this summer, for a little while, I just belong to this class. Yeah, I don't teach anything else, just you guys. So it sounds like fun. Any questions?
Yes. Video going to be posted on YouTube?
The videos? Yes.
Yeah, this one right now.
This one right now. So this is my goal, right? So I feel like I want to perfect my system for the videos. So there's a Zoom way. You know, the Zoom's doing the recording, but in terms of actually, they have a cloud, you know, but I'm not really clear how everyone could access it easily. And I'm kind of used to playlists. So on YouTube. So there's an MMP100 playlist. There's some old stuff on there now. I don't think anyone's going to want to watch. So I may archive those or something. But going forward, I intend to post the videos on that playlist. If there's any change, I'll let everybody know so that everyone knows where to get them. It takes a little while, though. They process slowly. First, Zoom takes a while to actually spit it out, and then YouTube does it again. So I would say at least an hour before it goes live. But that's the plan. Any other questions?
Professor.
Yes.
So when we will download the Adobe softwares, so will it ask us for as a student or something like? Or what?
Yes. So you have to use your BMCC email when you go for that free service because you're registered via the school. So they're giving it to students. They're not giving it to everyone on planet Earth, I don't think. But last semester, I had a bunch of students who said, oh, I can't load it, I can't load it. And it turns out they all made the same mistake. They were using personal email addresses, you know, like their Gmail addresses. So you're going to have to use your BMCC information. Click the link on my handout, you know, and read what it says. If you still have troubles with it, let me know so I could ask others. There's no way for me to try it because I already have it, you know, so I can't even imitate it. So I'm not going to be the world's best tech support. But this is the link to what our school has to say about it. And if you follow the instructions closely, you're getting a really great, you don't have to wait for me. We're not going to use anything Adobe till next week. But if you're feeling like you want to get as prepared early, why not? Their tools are just wonderfully exciting. They really, really are. You know, you know, since we're wrapping it up, you know, I just want to say, you know, human to human, more than teacher to student, really, just human to human. You know, I myself fell in that category when I was going to college that I needed to be creative to survive. I was very worried about a job that wasn't going to be creative enough because I knew the depression would kill me. You know, I'm the type of person that needed something else just to get through the day. So I went to an art school. I went to School of Visual Arts. And at first I started exploring the art forms that struck me as obvious as a young individual. They had the best cartooning program in the country, and I was pretty pleased to get in, which was no small feat. And, you know, went there for a while studying with famous cartoonists just to discover that, one, it's an incredibly difficult way to make a living, that they were not fun. Their cartoons were fun, but they weren't. And I started learning more about illustration. So I actually moved into the illustration department. But along the way, I just kept getting moved by fate through other art forms. So now I'm a multimedia guy, like I said to you earlier, just because fate did that. And when I look back, I think, you know, I'm kind of glad that no one of these things cashed in big enough that I only stayed there. For example, I went for a master's degree for painting. And I'm still a very active fine artist. I'm having my first one-man show next April, so I have a whole year to prepare. Very excited about that. But it's physical, no computer. And if anyone's interested and you want to peek, you can go to Instagram and look up Ira Epstein, one word. Just Ira Epstein, you'll find me. Very strange work. Don't hold it against me if you don't like strange. This stuff is way strange. I just try to describe it to anybody, and you'll see how strange it actually is. But again, like I said, if you're that type where you're concerned with having a creative life, but you want to have maybe some, you know, American apple pie daydream stuff. You want a house, you know, or you want to be able to buy your kid useful stuff. I don't know, you know, whatever you see as the American dream. You know, you want to picket fence in a garden or something. You know, you could have both. You know, I'm tired of people talking about what it takes to survive in America. You know, what it takes is a creative attitude so that your income is increasingly creation related, whether it's in the arts or not. You know, I mean, when people give up and I like the bus drivers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that they could do that. I like the friendly bus drivers best because they make a difference in the world. So I'm not saying one has to be creative necessarily, but they're creative when they smile at a stranger. That's a creative act. It's an act of creation. They create some happiness. There was a dude who sold newspapers underneath the ground, you know, one of those subway kiosks. What a miserable looking existence. But he would smile and wave. So he smiled and waved at me for weeks. And as a suspicious New Yorker, I was like, who's he talking to? I don't even buy anything from this guy. And after a while, I'm like, he's definitely looking at me. After the millionth time I passed him. So I waved back. He was delighted. And then I realized this guy had developed these weird wave and smile relationships with hundreds of strangers who would look for him each day to see if they got a smile or not. After a while, it was like, you know, people would slow down to make sure they caught his eye. I want to tell you why this means something to me, and I'm going to end the class. It was an odd creative act. But what it led to one day, I went down after school early, and it was sunny and beautiful out. We'd waved at each other for months at this point. And I walked right up to him and I said, look, it's beautiful out. Do you want to get some air? I'll watch your stand. This is in New York City, in Manhattan. Essentially strangers. I offered to watch his newsstand. He goes, I'd love to smoke a cigarette. So I could stay here for a cigarette's worth. So he went up in the sun, smoked a cigarette, and I sold some newspapers, magazines, and candy. I didn't use the cash register. I didn't get behind. I told anyone who wanted they needed exact change. So anyone who had exact change, it was fun. And the guy came back. What a creative exchange we had. So I'm just a champion of that kind of way of seeing things. Like he converted that job into something meaningful. And everyone was sad when he left. I don't know what happened to him. But, you know, I'll never forget this guy. That was the whole relationship was based on that. So anyway, however you see my class, I hope it feeds your own creative furnace. I hope it's charcoal that you toss in the fire that just lights you up. You know, that's all. Whatever gets you lit, gets others lit. And, you know, when you pass by someone's garden and their flowers just came up, aren't you glad they planted them? You know, they didn't plant them just for themselves. A lot of them, they know they're going to be looked at. They know other people are going to be like, wow, stop and take pictures. This is what we do for each other in humanity. So I was so grateful to our musicians and our favorite actors and poets and web designers. You know, if you have a favorite website, you know, let's not leave any of this out. So again, to all of you liberal arts majors, tech majors, networking people, animation, video, I'm going to be looking later on at the list to have an idea who we're populated by. Nice to meet you. Thank you for participating. I'm kind of much more excited now. I guess maybe we all got used to Zoom. This felt more personal than it did last semester already, only day one. So folks, I'm going to take off. If you need to say anything to me that needs action, either say it now or send me a succinct email. Include your whole name, it takes action. I'm going to be writing Christopher Stein in minutes about the computers because I don't know how long it'll take. I hope it's lightning fast. I know he sees the importance of it. So, you know, we'll work together. All right? Any last questions for me? Yeah. Folks, it's been my pleasure. I took screenshots for today's attendance if anyone's curious. And I may actually call attendance in the future once I have a proper roll book made. You guys we were not showing up in the usual in CUNY first, where I make my roll books. But I'm going to probably call attendance, and when I do, I'll be calling it at 10. so people can experience the value of arriving on time. Today, there was a lot of conversation, and I want to keep it warm, so there will be more, but it'll be closely centered around the material that I've tightly scheduled. It's all already designed for the 23 classes. Jessica, do you have a question? So, you know, little yellow boxes show up whenever like your mics hear something. So sometimes I think people are talking and all they did was like grab their coffee. So anyway, here's to you guys. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Good day,
Nice to meet you.
Professor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's see.
Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. Good to see you again, Marissa. Do either of you guys have a question for me since the room is emptied out? Fake, any more questions for me, sir?
Yeah, Professor, just one question.
I'm not hearing you for some reason.
Hello?
Yeah, your volume is very low. I don't know why.
Hello?
Yes, I could hear you, but very low. That's okay. I'm listening closely.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, like, can I use any software through my phone? Because the last time I was doing like coding through some of software. So if it will work out, so I can just let you know, and if it will not, then I can still tell you.
So Fake, you need a computer, but so here's the thing, like, I'm very open-minded, but my class is just going to be, it's not going to be fun on your phone. Like, if you want to try the code stuff on your phone, in the meantime, till we try to get you a computer, I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I'm not saying like for entire semester. I'm just saying like
Just for the beginning?
1-2 days until you will arrange it.
Can I ask you, do you have an idea? Like, what would you use on your phone? Do you already know what it's called?
That is a software. I mean, I was just looking at it. Let me tell you the software name. I mean, I just wrote the name on Google Play Store, so it showed me that Sublime Text Editor, or other than that is like Decoder.
Yeah, but see, does that work on a phone though? Because Sublime doesn't work on a phone. But if you could find
Decoder can.
If you find something that can on your phone write HTML and CSS, I think that's fantastic. You know, so tomorrow you let me know how well it goes. If it goes well, I want to tell Clarissa, who also needs a computer. So if it works for you, maybe she'll want to do the same thing. She could probably do it on the Chromebook even.
Yeah, sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, let me know how that goes. But yes, in the meantime, I think that's a good solution. Yes. All right.
And just one more question, like just to let you know.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, I'm working today too. I mean, I'm on the job right now. So tomorrow too, and for this, I mean, this week too. So from next week, maybe I will have just only 2 days. But right now, for this week, I will be on job. So maybe that's why I will not turn on. I will not be able to turn on camera. Like.
Got you. That's okay. And you know, Fake, remember, I am going to post the videos. So if you can't do this while at work, because that sounds difficult, you know, but if you do have trouble doing that, then maybe you could schedule yourself time after work and, you know, go to the video. The video link is on the handout already, but I have to put up our first video today. But yes, I understand. I really do understand. I'm going to keep a very open mind about that. So thanks for telling me.
Thank you so much, Professor. I really appreciate your.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I was glad I could answer your questions. So, all right, Fake. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, sure. And Professor, just let me want you quick. Now, my name is Faik, like F-A-I-Q.
F-I-Q is how?
F-A-I-Q. Faik.
Faik. Did I say that right? Faik?
Yeah.
Faik.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me. I usually ask people because, you know, I like to know. And then you know what happens? People are always like, oh, just call me Philip. And I'm like, I don't want to call you Philip. I want to use your real name.
I totally understand it.
Yes. So Faik, Very nice to meet you, sir. You have thoughtful questions, so I'm glad to have you in my class.
Thank you so much, Professor. I mean, I was just stressed out, like how I will manage everything for this.
It is a little stressful, so let's do our best and see what we can come up with, and hopefully we'll find perfect solutions. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean, because last semester I didn't like these. I mean, yesterday I had a panel for history too, and I was doing everything on my phone, you know. So
Right.
that was so much challenging to me.
That sounds really hard. It really does. So look, I'm going to write my boss, the director, you know, Professor Stein. I'm going to write him right now, and so that he could help, you know, move us along to getting the computers.
Yeah, sure, Professor, sure.
All right. So let me go. I'll talk to you tomorrow then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Professor. Again, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Faik. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you. Take care, Professor. Bye.
Bye-bye.